And let's get to number 6 on this list. And certainly, as I always like to say, if you need a tight end, bump this guy up to the top of the list. Yes, these are my overall rankings for how I would just take them in a vacuum. But of course, your team need does have to play a factor into waiver wire, into your roster construction, and who you target and how much you spend. So let's get to Dawson Knox. He is the tight end 5 on the year. The list of tight ends that have more touchdowns than Dawson Knox, yeah, that's it. Nobody. He is leading the NFL in touchdowns for tight ends right now. 15.7% target share, 79% route rate. That is like he was like running a route on about half of the dropbacks last year. That's insane. He's now been a top 12 tight end in 3 straight weeks, seeing 10 points, 14.9, and then 20.7. Red zone monster for this guy. The best part is, even in neutral scripts, they're going second fastest. Even when they're ahead by big, they go 5th fastest in those situations. And they're the fastest offense when they are trailing. It's a ridiculous. They average to play like every 18 seconds when they're trailing. So this is a pass-happy attack no matter what is happening. And Dalton Schultz has a very clear role above, let's say, a Gabriel Davis, above anyone else. He's really carved out that role behind maybe only Manny Sanders and, of course, Stephon Diggs and Cole Beasley when it's a tough script. But as a red zone option, he might be their number 1 guy. So Dawson Knox, a big boost up, and another top 10 potential tight end on your waiver wire right now. The tight end 1 and tight end 4 the last couple weeks. That's Dalton Schultz, 35% rostered, 8 to 10% fab in my opinion, maybe even worth more than that, because we always thought, 2 weeks ago it was just a kind of anomaly game. Him and Blake Jarwin are going to constantly nibble each other's cheese, right? Well, this week he ran Dalton Schultz 23 routes on the 29 dropbacks compared to just 10 for Blake Jarwin. Yes, Jarwin did catch a touchdown. That's the annoying part. But we've now seen Schultz go for 28% target share to 36.4% target share in his 2 games with Dak so far. Dak's loving the guy. And why not? He's sure-handed. He's steady. He's looking like a monster after the catch, bowling his way into the end zone. Schultz is a top 10 tight end moving forward. I'd rather have Knox if given the options. But if he's not out there, Schultz is another great pickup for you tight end needy folks. And if you don't have Travis Kelce and a couple others, you're probably in that bandwagon of tight end needy. So check out Knox, check out Dalton Schultz if you're desperate for a tight end. I'd probably rather have him than Kyle Pitts. Let's just throw that out there for the season. Both of those guys. J.D. McKissic, another just season-long, pretty usable running back compared to like P. Ryan, Damian Williams, who will only have a short burst of value. McKissic could be valuable the rest of the year. It is going to be tricky to figure out what weeks are the ones he's going to spike. But over his last 3, he had a complete dud. But he's also mixed in a 20.3 point effort and a 16.9 most recently this last week to Atlanta. And with the team averaging 30.5 points allowed to opponents right now, they're going to have no choice but to continue to remain pass happy. We've seen we all wished, fantasy owners, that it would have been Antonio Gibson taking all these 3rd down snaps and the Christian McCaffrey light role we all were hoping for. Not happening. McKissic is still dominating all the receiving work, and he now has a 12.1% target share. He's been a top 14 PPR guy in those 2 spike weeks we just talked about in 2 of his 3 last contests. 16.5 routes per contest. 5th among running backs in receiving yards. He is not quite where he was last year, where he led the NFL in running back targets, was 2nd in receiving yardage among the position, but still not all that far off. And if it means anything, they're 2 wins other than the wins they fed him the most. Just of note there for him. So J.D. McKissic, if you're running back needy, not a bad guy to be stashing right now, to be potentially deploying. Randall Cobb at wide receiver, one of my favorite wide receivers for the week. In fact, other than Mooney, my number 2 receiver right now, only played 46% of the snaps. That's like the one negative I want to get out of the way, but the damage he did on 46%, pretty damn impressive, and that number could continue to rise. 5 catches, 69 yards, not 1, but 2 TDs, 24.0% threat rate. I mean, pretty big piece of this offense. In fact, after the game, the Athletic beat writer speculated Cobb could unlock Green Bay's offense, the skeleton key for Green Bay. Randall Cobb, who would have seen it, folks? But it might just be the case for this guy. Solid usage, solid player that just obviously we saw Aaron Rodgers pine for the guy. Make sure we get Randall Cobb, and this is the potential reason. You saw a lot of his connections came on broken plays. Rodgers was scrambling, and then bam, zipped it in, and Cobb just struts his way right into the end zone. So intriguing guy. Of course, it's still Adam's show, but with MVS out, This was an encouraging first game, and MVS is expected to head to the IR. Multiple more, touchdowns could be headed Randall Cobb's way. Another old receiver you'd think would dust heading into the year, but wait on a little bit, is AJ Green. 24% rostered. I think he's worth 6 to 8% of your fab. He has double-digit performances in 3 straight weeks. He seems to be carving out I love Christian Kirk and probably prefer Kirk just because he's so much younger and a better talent and can have the 30-point days. But Green is carving himself a meaningful role, especially in the red zone right now, hauling in touchdowns. He had 67 yards and a TD this last week on 5 catches. Not bad. Drawing 6 targets was the team high. And that's like the rub here. 6 targets is a team high. That's kind of scary because it's just such a spread out offense. It's so explosive. But this is one of those offenses you just want any piece of. So AJ Green maybe looks old and unsexy. Sneaky, usable these last 3 weeks. And I think moving forward against teams like the 49ers where I think points are always going to be at a premium for them because their defense is not great, these Cardinals. And this is just going to be shootout central often this year. So I like AJ Green as my next highest receiver as a potential pickup. What is up, you fantasy wolf? Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, share your thoughts in the comments, check out some more videos, and join the newest Wolfpack by subscribing below.